What's going on, everybody? Welcome to day 2 of the NACL Open Qualifiers, streamed here on Aegis, where we're going to be covering Lotus Esports on their full journey through the OQs. Lotus now find themselves maybe a little unexpectedly in the 1-1 bracket to kick off today, meaning no fate going to be determined either way from this game after dropping to Castle's team yesterday. Castleberry going to have to play up against the number 32 seeded Misfits to try to get themselves up into the 2-1 bracket.
Yeah, I will say, though, I full credit to Castleberry. They deserve the upset to happen. Like, they completely, in my eyes, outplayed whatever Lotus was trying. So full props to them. And today it's on Lotus to turn back, because they're still in the 1-1 bracket. They just need to get 2 more victories to get past this already qualifying round. But one thing to always keep in mind with the Yokus is, yes, you still have quite a few good opportunities to try and qualify, but the seeding does actually matter going into the groups. We can have situations where you can just get into the group of death because of one early mishap, and I think that's one of the things that Lotus wants to 100% try and avoid. They don't want to go against the Wu, they don't want to go against, I would say BlackRock or any of those teams that are strong and can be quite problematic.
Absolutely here, and I have to see if they're going to be able to keep up what they were able to show yesterday. I mean, Misfits were able to take down Team Fish Taco, the number 1 seed, to kick things off. They did end up dropping to Winthrop in game number 2. So 1-1 when playing up against these super high seeded teams. Now going to try to
you mean Black Order, I mean, right?
I'm sorry?
You mean Order, right? No TFT Order.
Oh, you're right. Yes. Yeah, Order, it is Blue Otter, not TFT. Completely right there. It's confusing which team is the first seed. You know, it's been a little bit of time, but you are correct. They beat Blue Otter in the first round. They beat Winthrop in the second round. They haven't played TFT yet, but at the rate that they're going, they're going to end up in there at some point or another, as it's been, it's been quite some tough seeds that Misfits have had to play against so far. So Lotus selecting red now this time. We were talking about this yesterday. They've been swapping up what side they've been favoring, going back over to red here for their first game of day number 2. Misfits going to start things off by banning away Robbie Bob's Azir, and there's that Twisted Fate taken off the board. I would be happy to see that one continue to get banned. I'm going to be honest, that pick's a bit nuts.
Well, unless you're playing it with the wrong build, I think the champion is still quite strong, and we've seen it be able to perform quite consistently, so it's good that they are taking it away. I think the Smolder ban as well, kind of smart, because Smolder was kind of a problem yesterday in the series for Lotus, so I like the Smolder takeaway. It just goes to show how strong the champion may be, and a lot of early picks that are getting banned away. The Xin Zhao used to be priority, the TF, the Ashe, but the Senna is the one that gets left open. I'm surprised with the amount of, or lack of actually, of Barrow's priority as well. I feel like Barrow's still quite a strong AD carry to try and go for.
Yeah, I agree, but looks like Selfish and Dalbiel definitely preferring to have those kinds of Senna lanes set up for themselves. There's going to be the Karma lock-in, though. Already looking reminiscent of the comp that Lotus was able to find a lot of success with in Game 1 yesterday. They did put that in mid last time. We'll see if they want to flex that over for Mixture, or if it will be Robbie Bob piloting it again. And then there's that Varus you talked about locked in for Forsen. Misfits responding quickly with a pick of the Vi in the jungle. That'll go over to Baco and Hui, which could be paired up in the bot lane with Senna, or could be in the mid lane for Dylan.
Well, one thing we saw 2 days ago, once again to shut it out, the ACL, we saw the Hui support. It wasn't with the farming Senna, if I'm wrong. It wasn't with the fasting Senna, so it didn't have like kind of that potential there, but it was still quite an impressive pick with what they picked it with. So I'm kind of excited to see if it's going to work out on there in the bot lane. Obviously, if you're able to pair it with the Senna, you have a farming Hui and a Senna support as well. That could be a really strong duo, and it gives an opening to have a great counter pick in mid lane. As we also see the Wukong, and Wukong, not a champion we get much opportunity to see nowadays, even though I still think he's quite a good jungler. It feels like it's much more for determined situations, and here with champions like the Senna or the Hui that doesn't have a lot of mobility, you can go for the Wukong and it gets great value with the ultimate.
Yeah, I think the Wukong is so strong right now, and that's going to be a really powerful pick to get into Odd Orange's hands. The Rise ban, Robbie Bob pulling a little bit of respect after yesterday. Was willing to bust it out in game number 2. Was the best hope Lotus had, but definitely couldn't keep the pick safe enough to end up coming up with the W. Still, teams that aren't as familiar with it going to be looking to take it off the board here, just so that they don't have to deal with anything unexpected. The Renata ban as well, respecting the potential of that Karma to get flexed over to mid lane. They do not want to have to deal with the Karma when you're playing a heavy engaged composition with the Vi, and presumably they're going to want an engaged top laner to go with it.
Yeah, they are going for something with a bit more caution to try and go for the bot lane, and it seems like the precaution paid off, because it's not going to be the Karma support, it's going to be that Rakan, and the Karma in the mid lane going to be something to try and get more push pressure for Robbie Bob in the mid lane. It feels like with the remaining picks, the Rel getting picked here, so it's going to be Senna Rel. I don't think I've seen Rel actually being one of the main pairings with the Senna, so it's going to be interesting seeing if this is actually going to be the farming Senna or not. And then the Rumble to close it out, going to have a strong top lane value. But here you get the counter pick for Porch, and there's quite a lot of options open. We may see the K'Sante just to try and get the safe blind pick value. There may be a bit more aggression if you want to go for the Aatrox in that sense, but typically you do see more of those options be the ones that pop up for the top laners. Maybe a Jax actually wouldn't be that bad either against the Rumble here.
Yeah, definitely. Ooh. Oh, wow. A Scion is going to be the selection we see coming through for Porsche. Porsche has been loving that K'Sante for the first couple of games. It was available here, decides that it's not going to be the pick into the Rumble, and goes in for this Scion as well. I do think what you were saying about that Rel is interesting here, TDS. We had this discussion yesterday with the Nautilus. Is like, is this support, this traditional supporty support, going to farm? Is it going to fast? We did get to see last night's games. It was a farming Nautilus, but even just earlier today, I know Team Liquid challengers were busting out the fasting Nautilus with the farming Senna. So there's definitely some room for both possibilities in the current meta.
How did it go, by the way?
They won the game. It wasn't because of the Senna.
But for a lot of people, it's just more justifiable if you win the game than if you lose it.
Sure. They won the game. They won the game. It's not. I still like. I don't get me wrong. I share your disapproval of it. I think the game really ended up coming up for Keel's Belveth more than anything.
Okay.
So I mean, it was So it was a Keel Belveth game. I think they could have been playing anything bot, but.
So the thing here with the Rel is that at the very least for the Nautilus, you do have farming mechanics, right? Like the E was one of the ways to farm the, I don't remember the call, the thingy that throws the water around. Like that is a mechanic to try and farm at the very least. With the Rel,
Riptide,
the Riptide, you really don't have farming mechanics with the Rel when you think about it. It's mainly your auto attacks because Q can do it, don't get me wrong, there is value with the Q, but it's more value for monsters than for minions, if I'm not wrong. So there's quite a difference to how you can apply it compared to the Nautilus. And then mostly the Rel is going to be an engaged machine, much more so than wanting to try and thrive between the both of them. So I just don't feel like the comparison with the Nautilus and the Rel is close enough, because at the very least Nautilus has farming mechanics. That being said, it may be the farming Senna like you were pointing out, and then you just open up the Rel a bit more. Or this could be buy bot lane and the Rel goes into the jungle and you have a buy farming. Could also be, I guess.
I mean, yeah, that would be a big surprise as we get onto the Rift for game number 3 of the open qualifiers. Does look like it's going to be Rel in the bot lane with a support item. So it looks like it will be that farming Senna. At least that's going to be our baseline assumption here. Does sacrifice yourself some souls in exchange for some additional items. We'll see how that ends up paying off for them. It's the back away coming on through. So we got 3 different names in this game that are Korean characters. So we're just gonna have to go with the names we have on the sheet. TDS, no chance of reading these off the screen.
I made a personal vow that if I don't know the name, I'll just name you the champion. That's your name for the game.
Yeah, that's fair. So these are, for those who don't know, it is Cozy in the top lane. Dylan is the name the mid laner registered with. Dylan and Mohano are the same guy, to my understanding. And then it is Selfish and Dalbyul in the bottom lane. So, you know, there's something to know for right now. You can check it out on the sheet to confirm. But yeah, we'll see how much this devolves as the game goes on, if I'm able to keep those in the back tank. But I did want to call out, even though Rel's not a traditional pairing with the Senna, I like the Rel in this game specifically because the amount of shielding, especially coming through from that Karma, and then, you know, happy accident that it ends up working out with Cyan as well. Shattering Strike's ability to shred those shields is just going to be so good up against that Karma, particularly coming into these team fights.
Yeah, overall, there is value for the Rel. Like you're pointing out, the shield breaking can be quite good, especially if a lot of team fights have the general shield from the Karma, the one that is more onto multiple targets. Then the Rel Q is going to find amazing value. But obviously, you also have to take into account that is already a big trade down there, even Ignite going down.
Yeah, really trying to blow a lot of skills here on towards Selfish, forcing him back. Going to be forcing Dalbyul to about half HP as well. Really great early trades come through from the Lotus bot lane. That should be able to guarantee them the earlier level 2 in this 2-on-2 matchup. And you can see the odd orange starting on the opposing side's red jungle. He's going to be ready to make a little level 3 play here if he wants to, and it doesn't seem like Baeko has any idea that this has actually happened, so he might just end up getting 3 quadrants lost.
I kind of think he does, because they did have a ward early on the red buff. So they know that there was a potential for something like that to happen. They have the push in the mid lane. Now Odd Orange has to be slightly careful about any sort of rotation, but they do have the ball lane there.
Ooh, dive on the top side. Cozy coming up with first blood. It will get traded, and Porsche is just going to try to at least clear out his siege minion. Bot lane coming up to support Odd Orange. Stop any attempts from Baeko to steal something back. And if they're smart about it now, I mean, Porsche's TPing back to top lane. He'll be able to cover the red alongside Robbie Bob. And Baeko just desperately trying to find some camps to farm here.
Yeah, he's going to move to the top side quadrant. They know that this is happening, and there might be a chance for the Odd Orange to actually go and respond to this sort of play, because no teleport is coming through from the Rumble up there in the top lane just yet. Yes, the mid lane is getting pushed, but there's a slight chance that you can actually get it contested here if there is a fight for the red buff.
Yeah, and a fight for the red buff looking like what is going to happen here. Baeko waiting inside of the bush. Wards coming through from both sides. And Odd Orange knows, hey, if I'm not seeing Baeko, he's on the Krugs. There's nowhere else for this guy to go. And Porsche is coming in for the cutoff. Baeko likely going to have to go for the Vault Breaker over the wall here to get himself out. And just finds himself ringing around the rosy across all Summoner's Rift as he tries to wait for an opportunity.
Exactly, and even though it's not a red buff, they still do get a bit of the Scuttercraft value. Could even go for the bottom Scuttercraft and that way try and stack up there. But so far, it feels like both teams trying to get that equal advantage out in multiple opportunities, although Baeko is staying around. He knows this is happening.
He is certainly aware, coming on over, going to go for the steal. Odd Orange gets it for himself and now has the level lead as well as the buff lead. He's going to be willing to take this fight one-on-one, using the Nimbus Strike with the additional attack speed, crushing blows, shredding the armor. Baco, no chance in this one-on-one as Robbie Bob coming in for the collapse, and Mixture looking to join. Here's going to be the interaction from the Rel, but they're going to be able to land a two-man ultimate out of that Karma, and chasing down Mahano is going to be Odd Orange, picking up the first kill of the fight as Baco has to Vault Breaker to safety.
Quite a bit of aggression in that play. As soon as Baco lost out on the red buff, I think you have to disengage there. They had blind faith that they actually had the numbers advantage, but it doesn't work out that well. And another good play for the side of Lotus, responding quickly, gaining the kill, and forcing quite a bit onto the mid lane that was winning for MSW, for MF, sorry, confusing names.
MF, yeah, no, Misfits. Perhaps a Morningstar White for the new era here as they come on through Korean rather than Chinese this time, but certainly looking to make some big upsets happen from their seed. Look at this pressure coming in from the bottom lane here. I mean, they're sending up members to go and disrupt and try to turn things around using Dalbiels on the Rel, but meanwhile, while just kind of farming on this bottom side, Selfish struggling up against Forsen, who's already got himself a pretty sizable lead.
Yeah, actually doing quite well, and today he actually has the name, so we are not going to confuse him with the Geiger. Pretty nice.
True, yeah, I appreciate that, Forsen. Thank you very much.
That is actually much better than what it was before, and with the Barrows gaining a lot of control, and this is what I was talking about when mentioning the Barrows before. The priority for the Barrows not only comes with the fact that the champion has multiple builds that you can play around, but the fact that he wins lane most of the time because of how his kit works is just so useful when you're playing a jungler like the Wukong, someone that can fight early on, but even if he doesn't fight early on, then you still have a power lane to play around like the bot lane, and I think this is so good for Lotus, and this can begin stacking up some advantages. The gold lead is still not going that highly in favor of Lotus just yet, but it's good that they are stacking up slowly but surely.
Yep, and a lot of that's that first blood gold plus the CS lead that's built up for Cozy is going in on a Robbie Bob, flashed away from that equalizer, but there's four members collapsing here. Crash down will connect, and Baco set up to finish up the kill. Mahano, the one who picks it up. Dylan, as he is known on the sheet, going to be getting his first kill of the game. Gonna be pretty happy to get that one over Robbie Bob.
It's actually going quite a bit of tit for tat for both of the teams. Neither team is really going behind the other. They are getting good opportunities and they are taking advantage out of them, and it's kind of nice to see. Honestly, it feels bad that one of these teams is going to go 1-2 when you think about the potential that maybe both of them have.
Absolutely. Here is moving forward, going to be trying to keep that pressure onto the Rel, chunking her to about half HP. And Lotus are well set up now. Get this crash down and be able to get themselves a recall, spend some of that money, but instead they're looking to try to interact with Baco. They at least want to get some deeper vision for themselves and see what they can do. Ooh, if they interrupt this recall, it'll be big. And they will successfully do that. Dalbiel not going to be able to get back to the base for the time being. Going to have to reset that recall once again.
Yeah, they do know that the Vi is down here, so they are not going to force anything weird, but it's giving time for Odd Orange to actually stack up on even more jungle camps on the other side. As we see Porch was again taking so much damage.
Yeah, definitely here. There's a little bit of brawling back and forth on the top side. Odd Orange coming to rejoin from the ping brush. We'll dive in, going to get that Cyclone down onto Cozy. Here comes the Unstoppable Onslaught, knocking up, followed up with by the second Cyclone. There's a fully charged Decimate, and Odd Orange gets a kill. Lotus striking back in the top lane, giving Porsche a little bit more space to breathe. Great play there.
Exactly, really good play there by the side of Lotus. Weird flash coming in there by the Rumble Cozy, kind of flashing in a straight line, so it enabled for Porsche to get the connection instead of flashing to the side, and also couldn't get enough time to actually make use of the ultimate. And with no ignite, you don't have the same kill thread. Baco is trying to look for Porsche here, but he's going to get spot. Oh, okay, no, it's fine, I think.
All right, following up here, Baco going in for the cease and desist, wants to try to get the kill solo. Severing Bolt going to be coming in from Mahano before too long, but doesn't even need it. Baco picks up that kill 1 versus 1 and will walk on out.
Yeah, it actually works out. I wasn't sure if there was going to be enough damage. It looks like perfectly enough there. Baco with the answering kill. And once again, they are going tit for tat. It's not like the game is going in one favor. Both teams are finding good opportunities and they are making use of them.
Really great stuff so far. Hano just clearing out that wave, continuing to farm up on the Hui. Both sides striking back and forth here, keeping the gold pretty even. Great stuff out of the Misfits so far. They are going to re-arrive to this red buff, trying to steal that one away and get Baco a little bit more farm back in this jungle matchup where he has been set behind by the odd orange from that early clear. Will be able to secure the opposing team's red buff. Will move back over to get his own blue. Doesn't look like there's going to be a response mounted for Lotus here quite yet, as odd orange just clearing bot to top, not even going to find that his red buff is missing until it's way too late.
Kind of made the similar play to what happened early on to Baco, where he got his red buff stolen. This time around, it's the odd orange that actually loses out on it, and it's going really close in the favor that they can find. And now I want to see what kind of both of these teams are trying to look for with the opportunities that they are getting. Because even though there is kills, the action feels like it's not completely out of control in a way. And then importantly, it's not like those skills are translating into big objectives or big control over the map. It's just going 1-for-1 in kills and then the game going back to kind of the neutral spot. We need to begin seeing both teams actually making use of the kills that they get into some objective or some real value in the game.
That's absolutely what we are looking for. Odd orange clearing out some vision around the second spawn of the grubs. Want to at least try to deny getting the 5 or 6 grub stacks over to Misfits, and they should be able to get themselves 1 or 2 if they started up here. No vision around here for the Misfits, so I don't think they intend to contest. Instead, redeploying towards the bottom side, as that next dragon will be up here in about 15 seconds.
It's going to be really soon for it to start, but it looks like it's going to be a trade for 1-for-1, although they know that some of this grubs are dying quite quickly, so it may be just enough time for them to actually go and contest the dragon, but it doesn't look like it. It's going to be a 1-for-1 in objectives as well, and now the soul may be the thing that defines a lot of the game, the way that the game goes, because both teams having one, if it's a really good soul, they may try and put more focus around it, but it doesn't look like either team is really trying to just make a separation between each other just yet.
Not quite yet here. 15 seconds. No, actually, never mind. Actually, that dragon's already been up and that dragon's already been taken. So Lotus going to be able to at least get themselves the grubs, but it's going to be Misfits who end up securing themselves dragon number 2. So tied across the board now in dragon counts, in grub counts, and anything you can imagine. The gold's still pretty close as well. Just a faint lead going on over to Lotus as they've caught on up more in the top lane, and Forsen continues to farm incredibly effectively. He's been pretty close to that 10 CS per minute mark pretty much the entire time we've been following him through OQs. Has been really solid at securing all of that gold for Lotus. So far, 50-50 rate of being able to convert it into the victory. Definitely going to be getting very close to that Blade of the Ruin King here soon, and going to be looking to start making that on-hit Varus have value.
Yeah, making really good use of the space that he has had in the bot lane and trying to maximize his damage as the Varus as much as possible. In the other side, the Senna actually opting into the lethality path. I thought there was going to be an actual auto attack based Senna here, but yes, the lethality gives you more value for your Q. If I'm not wrong, the lethality does pump up your healing by quite a bit. But at the same time, I think that if you're opting to go farming Senna, it is because you want to get the gold in your favor, and that's quite a bit of damage onto the Rumble.
Yep, and Porsche going to have this little array of sparks coming through from the Infernal Soul to give him that little bit of extra movement speed to waltz on out. Has access to the Hallowed Radiance as well for the additional magic resistance, and just clearing on out waves the way that Sion does, stacking up that max health and getting ready to be involved later on and be a big frontline beefcake for Forsen and the crew looking to work through that late game damage. I do think this is a lot more similar to that comp we saw in game number 1 yesterday, and I think that's definitely where Lotus looked very comfortable, just playing a slow, controlled game where they know they're going to be the ones winning the later game team fights. Is Porsche actually looking to get a little bit more involved than just farming up. He wants to be able to find a solo kill onto Cozy, not quite finding the last bit of damage though. Dawning Shadow going to buy Cozy some more time, and Cozy takes him down.
Yeah, Cozy with the outplay there. He may end up dying here. Yeah, he's more than likely dead, but still, getting the 1v1 in that situation, not a bad play. And they also give the assist to the Senna. So overall, quite a bit of value all around the map. There may be even an attempt down here with Becco waiting on the side. But I think they spotted this with the ping ward. Yeah, they know
find him, immediately chains of corruption into the knockup, but here's the cease and desist. Bako trying to turn this one back on the force and crash down connects. But Bako drops too quickly. It's a 1-for-1 in the fight, but Robbie Bob is here to back up with the damage and make sure he's holding them in place for it to land. A double kill to Robbie Bob as they managed to get themselves a 2-for-1, and somehow Cozy also got taken out there. Missed that one, but it was cleaned up somewhere.
Yeah, the spot actually worked out perfectly well for Lotus to be able to get on the spot really quickly and be able to fight out the situation really well. They are able to find force, and yes, but it actually cost them quite a bit. So overall, really well played by Lotus, really good response. And MF, they are still trying to look for certain plays, and it's working out for them to a really good degree. As Mohano, yeah, he's going to be fine. Nothing really out of the ordinary in this situation. I was actually going to ask before that play even happened if we were just going to be waiting until the next dragon for some fighting, but it looks like not the case.
Ooh, grasping maw connecting on the Forsen, at least going to trigger that passive and chunk the Varus to about half. You gotta have a lot of respect for these Hui combos, especially the ones that use the grasping maw to guarantee the passive proc. They can hit you for a solid chunk of damage and make team fighting and any kind of skirmish really, really risky. And meanwhile, this whole time, right, it's been Selfish farming on the bottom side, catching up in that CS deficit, really starting to mark exactly where Forsen is at. They're going to try to start up the Rift Herald to make it even, but Forsen taking a long path back to bottom lane here just to avoid losing more health on the turret.
Yeah, actually doing a really good job at trying to stay as close as possible to the barriers, and here the situation may turn into a fight. Beko is taking the blue buff, or finishing to take the blue buff. The Herald is... Actually, they're going to abandon it. I'm kind of curious. And the Senna does collect the first turret blood. So overall, the gold value for the play is in favor of the side of MF. Now, the Rip Herald does need to find some connection to one of the turrets to make it be as worth as possible. But so far, MF doing a really good job at trying to thread the needle as much as possible without dying.
That has absolutely been the challenge, but see how they're going to be able to make use out of the big crab, having secured it for themselves here. Forsen just farming it out underneath the turret. There will be a potential setup for this next dragon here as it is starting up. Mohano pre-using that crater, just continuing to try to work through it as quickly as they possibly can. And with the damage available, they are working it to about half HP. But here comes the engage. Course just crashes into a member along the way, and they're going to try to focus him down. Pull back in from the grasping maw, dive into the back line, coming through from Mixture, buying some additional space as Bako is going to get forced out. Porch still trying to frontline, but he's been chunked down to about a third HP already, and they can't get their way over to the dragon. Odd Orange trying to find his way onto the ball on the backside, dives on in, finds their way onto Dalbion, now looking to take on this dragon below 1k HP. It will get stolen back away by the Misfits, but how many lives will they lose in trade? It's a double kill already for Forsen as the remaining 3 members retreat to their bot side turret.
It looks like only 2 lives will be lost in that play, but at the end, Lotus gets the kill in their favor. They do lose on the dragon buff though, and it looks like they are going to try and connect into the turret. It's a Barris on the Rip Herald, kind of funny to see. It's going to just get a bit of the damage down and actually going to mean the turret, but with the control they have right now, I can see Lotus trying to take the turret as soon as possible.
Definitely, they're sending more members over here, but the wave clear is just coming through too fast there from that Molten Fissure. Mohano knows the power that this champion brings in the wave clear department and is perfectly happy to use those tools to keep that tower safe. First tower no longer available for grabs as that was picked up by Selfish and Dalbiel in that bottom lane. Not enough to build up a gold lead, but Misfits with avenues to play through as they get themselves onto dragon number 2 and show that they have some team fighting chops in this composition.
Exactly. At the very least, they do have some power that they can play around with. Importantly, the Odd Orange holding onto the ultimate for so long, then he can find the value in the team fight in the longer duration. And it looks like the longer the fights last, the better it is for obviously the barriers that can continuously out attack, but the cycle of spells for both Robbie Bob and Porsche ends up being so valuable because they can be so durable in those fights and make it really difficult for some of the members to find a ton of value on the side of MF. As maybe a catch here. It's Porsche, it's Tank. I don't think it's going to work out.
Yeah, I was wondering who's catching who there. Porsche landed the decimate. It looked like there was a chance for a follow-up coming through from Mixture, but Forsen not in the area, nor are any of the damage dealers. They're all on the southern side of the map right now, so will be a little while until they're going to be able to go in and follow up on anything. Everybody just waves hello, lands some skills, and that's about it. These 280 carries will be funneled all the farm they can get in the mid lane. Forsen's got to be careful about a potential engage here. Baco coming in from the top side, but he'll fall back in time.
So as we know, this is going to be this is a farming Senna. So I want to see how many stacks does she have currently with how the game has been going. 39. So for the farming, I think 39. I think it's between 40 and 50 at this point where you should be. It's half of the fasting Senna one. So close to being in the right spot, but still you can see the difference in souls when it's farming Senna and fasting Senna.
Two big groups collapsing on each other here. Porsche is TPing towards mid lane. This fight might be getting started here pretty soon. Unstoppable Onslaught is available. Instead, trying to charge the Decimate. Grand Entrance connects over the wall. They're going to look for the knockups coming on top of that support. Dalviel dives through the team with the crash down. Will melt down to Forsen first, as here is that cease and desist coming through the team, but they're going to drop to Forsen as well. Untouched so far in the fight. This Varus cannot be stopped. It is ripping through the health bars of the Misfits as they'll move forward out of the turret.
Well, the difference is one team has a tank that can take everything that is being thrown at them, and the other doesn't. They are trying to make the play work out, trying to kill this Sion, but it's just simply so much resistance. And since the Senna is not opting for a typical auto attack build, but has a bit more of the lethality on her side, it's not going to be enough to kill Porsche. Really good fight by Lotus, not only recognizing that they had the advantage in positioning, but also knowing that as long as they are not putting themselves in a really weird spot and Forsen cannot attack, then it's going to be quite easy for him to close out the fight. As we do have a replay of how it happened, and you can look at it. Yes, this after Porsche already arrived, but they are committing onto the Rumble. Rumble has to flash away. They used their cooldowns already, but they used them on Odd Orange and on Porsche. It's not the crucial targets you want to look for, because those are both the most durable ones and the ones that have the easier time at getting away out of them. And then the Barris just freely out attacks.
Yeah, really great stuff there from Forsen. Now at 4 kills to his name, 2 items deep, and only going to get stronger on this Varus. As long as they're able to keep him safe behind the front line, they will be well set up coming into these later fights. And 21-48 into the game, Lotus have finally found themselves their lead.
And I'm still trying to understand why they are looking so heavily onto Porsche. Like every time it's an attempt at a pick, it's onto Porsche. Like it's going to turn out better than the last time because you're 4 versus 1 tank for some reason.
Absolutely the case here. Porsche dueling with a couple members here. Baco coming over the wall to give some punches, but can't even get their way through the Soul Furnace shield. I mean, this guy is really beefy now with the Jacques show already completed, and they can't find a way to work through him. It's going to be very tough to win out on these fights, and they lack that kind of traditional DPS, right? He's not just going to hang out on your Equalizer and your Molten Fissure all day long. It's going to take a long time to be able to finish off this guy now that he's got more items in his pocket, and Lotus already first one to the Dragon. They're going to be able to pick this up.
Yeah, the good thing is that because of the previous Dragon going into the favor of MF, they don't have to worry that much about going up for the Dragon as well. But now it's equal count on the Dragons, but the gold lead is still so much more in favor of Lotus with 4,000 gold in their favor. They are just waiting for the Barriers to keep on getting stronger, and the same for Porsche. Porsche is going to get tankier. Barriers is going to get more items and be able to auto-attack even better. And it's just an attempt at seeing what MF can do as. That was an attempt on to force him, but it's not going to pan out.
Yep, was a good look there from Baco, but Forsen knows the range he can play at and does back away in time to avoid any engage. I want to call it the Horizon focus coming through here for Robbie Bob, looking for maybe a little bit of extra poke work coming on in as he lands those long distance ulti Qs. With that Baron down for 4 minutes, you got to believe both teams' attentions are going to shift up towards this Baron. They want to start getting some vision here. Mixture going to be the first one on duty, stepping on up to clear away these vision wards, secure all of the embers for themselves, and be ready to fight around. Looks like that's all seeing Baron. So going to be some of those. Oh, actually, no, never mind. It's territorial Baron. So just the one wall.
Yeah, it's just going to be the slight opening there to try and get the control, not actually going to be the other one. And with the way that the game has been going, it's just trying to keep as much control of the Baron as possible. I do think that there's a slightly faster Baron for Lotus just because of the Baron's passive, but the Baron taking is not realistically as fast as you would like for either of these teams. So I feel like it's more on the dance than on the objective itself.
Shattering Strike connecting there, trying to keep Mixture at a distance, but Lotus doing a good job of being able to force members back and win this Vision War. Just threatening Dalbiel, saying, hey, how much are you willing to sacrifice to be able to see this far up into your jungle? Because you never know when they could pull the trigger and look for an engage here. There's that Horizon focus paying off there, getting a little bit of oomph behind these ulti Qs from Robbie Bob, and that damage is going to stick for the time being.
Yeah, that does hurt a bit. So,
Ooh, that was the Magnet Storm thrown down, not connecting on a Force, and he flashes back to safety, stays away from the Equalizer. Here comes the Cyclone all over Selfish, who will go down second, and Forsen barely even needs to participate. He flashes out to safety, and the fight's already won. Lotus take a 2-for-0, and they're marching towards the Baron.
Yeah, that was an attempt to try and kill Forsen. I respect the idea, but the execution, you have to question it. And with those 2 kills, it's also going to be Baron buff for Lotus, plus Porsche taking down the bot lane turret. It's everything going their way, and Porsche can just press ulti here and run away. Yeah, it's not like you're going to stop the Sion from escaping. Still, such a good play, such a good answer by Lotus, and now the game going back in their favor.
Choo-choo away from Porsche. Yeah, just staying in complete control here. They've got themselves a 7K lead now. They got themselves the Baron buff to try to push down some of these structures. They have some really great go buttons when they do want to take these engages. And you can see, by the way, with the way Porsche is building, they just barely even need to pay attention to the AD side, right? It's just going to be too long until this Senna is really that valuable. She doesn't have the range that a support Senna would have, and only 2 items, not really making her a massive DPS threat either. So all they have to worry about are these magic damage dealers, and with 3 items, all with magic resist on them, Porsche is going to be sitting pretty.
Yeah, Porsche just went to the part where it said magic resistance and played around that. He doesn't even care about having some armor because the Senna barely fits, like it's hitting anything like that. Mostly she's dealing damage with her Q. Forsen.
Ooh, dive backwards onto Forsen. There's the full combo with the Equalizer, but he's still at about half HP, and nobody else is there to layer down damage. Magnet Storm way too late as Dalbiel will drop down for a double kill to Robbie Bob. Porsche already melted down, but trying to use this move forward to try to get through the rest of the team. Odd Orange is unstoppable as he gets another off the Cyclone. It's a 4-for-0 so far, and they don't have to stop there. Mahano has to do the best he can to try to keep the base safe, and it's just not going to work out for him. Lotus looking to take a clean closeout on game number 3.
Exactly, Mohano may try, but it's not going to be enough. Porsche ends up dying, but it took them way too long to actually take down this huge tank, and Lotus going to secure their 2nd win in the OQs and put themselves 1 step closer to the group stage. The game was close until it wasn't. There was a really big period of time where both of the teams were going tit for tat. They didn't give enough advantages to each other, but at the end, Lotus is the one that finds the right fight and make the most use out of their composition, taking advantage of mainly having magical damage because the Senna opted into lethality instead of going all in on the out attacks.
Exactly. So not going to be able to come on up with a 2nd win yet are the Misfits. They will drop down to 1 and 2. Lotus will move up to 2 and 1, surely going to find themselves a tougher matchup now coming into round number 4. They look to cement themselves a spot in that top 16. A loss in the next round, going to 2 and 2. That's where you get some of those real high pressure game 5 situations. It's been a while since we've been on one of those TDS. It would be a lot of fun, but we're going to have to see who Lotus's opponent is going to be in the next round. I don't believe that seeding is complete yet, and I'm completely wrong about that. The game is being played right now. Yeah. Let's see who it is up against. Does look like that is going to be BlackRock Esports as the next opponent.
Okay, that is actually kind of entertaining. Going to be a fun matchup between the 2 ones. And also, there is quite a few strong ones in the 2 and 1 bracket. So you 100% do not want to fall into the 2-2 scenario. So going to be a fun one when we get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Big threats coming on through here. Will be a bunch of fun to check out Lotus versus BlackRock. BlackRock, a team that you and I just got to cover a couple nights ago on ACL. So let's see how they're going to be able to do up against Lotus. We're going to throw it to a quick break here while we wait for that game to complete and wait for the file to become available. And then we'll be back with Lotus taking on BlackRock.
Before they close my eyes, a little less of you.